Hello, everyone, and welcome to the daily Butt Fumble Sports Betting Show under slightly different conditions than what we normally have. Unlike our normal setup today, we are not on TikTok, but instead we are on YouTube and we are on Instagram Live as we continue our Cal Ripken-like streak of coming live to you every single day. So despite TikTok maybe being a bit grumpy, throwing us off the platform for a few days, that is not going to hold us back because Butt Fumble Sports is committed every single day to reaching you sports fans, talking to you about sports, and of course, helping with you with your sports bets and of course with your sports betting research. Appreciate all of those who are watching, no matter the platform. If you're watching on Instagram Live, you can go over to YouTube and be able to see all of our picks and research done in front of you on the screen. But for those watching on YouTube, thank you so much for joining us. For those loyal viewers who came from TikTok and have switched over for YouTube for the next few days, I appreciate you joining us and appreciate your commitment to Butt Fumble Sports. So wonderful to have you with us. As you can see, we are all loaded up here. If you want to make sure you catch all of our content, go to our website, buttfumblesports.com. There are links there that take you to all of our platforms, as well as content that we put up every single day. That's where you can go to find us. And of course, reach out to us in case you ever miss a show or ever want to contact us about anything. One thing I actually wanted to kick off the show with was a conversation I had with one of our viewers yesterday. So I'm fortunate enough that you guys are not bashful and are quick to come out, reach out with a comment, and certainly suggestions. And one of you reached out yesterday with a great story that I really wanted to call out. And as we do, Tyler, great to see you. Hey, yo, appreciate you joining us on YouTube. And the story is about, we have one of our viewers who's really loyal. He shows up on a number of our TikTok lives. In fact, he just came up on our Instagram live, and that's Deadpool. If you don't know Deadpool, you maybe have seen him in some of our previous shows in the comment section, but I had a great conversation with him yesterday, and he was giving me some tips on content that he'd like to see, as well as feedback from the show. And one thing that he mentioned is he's not a big sports bettor. And one of the reasons he's not a big sports bettor, despite loving sports, despite loving fantasy sports, is he really doesn't understand sports betting as well as he would like to. He wants to be in the know. It's part of the reason he's come to the channel. It's part of the reason that he's reached out to us to try to learn a little bit about sports gambling. So before we get into our picks today, I actually wanted to take one quick second to actually do a little tutorial for you guys about sports betting. And yes, this is a 101, so some of you guys are maybe more advanced, but bear with us because there are a few people who join our show every single day who, again, love sports, love watching sports, play fantasy football when it's in season, but now they're starting to get a little bit more interested by sports betting, but it's never been accessible to them before. They don't have any knowledge of it. And it's almost as if they walked into the casino and they see the lights, they see the whistles, they want to participate in the games, but they don't know the rules and they don't want to be foolish as they step up to the craps table. So this is one of the ways in which we can talk about this, and that is looking at using our Outlier app. Let's just take this first game. Let's just take this first game that's going off, first pitch at 5:30 today between the Milwaukee Brewers and the Cincinnati Reds. So here on the left side, you'll see the Brewers are the favorite. Whenever you see that minus, it means they're the favorite. So the minus 160, what does that mean? That means if I put down $100, I'm not getting $100 back. In order to get $100 back, I actually need to put down $160. That's what that means. In order to get a return of $100, if I bet on the Brewers, I would have to bet $160 because Vegas, or the sports book that's putting down this odds mark, is saying, we think Milwaukee should win. So we want to protect ourselves as we put out this bet to sports bettors. And so we don't want to just say, you bet $100, we'll give you $100. We need to protect our risk. And in order for them to protect the risk, they shift the odds more in their favor. In this case, it's minus 160. So what they're saying is if you want to win $100, bet $160. Now, on the other side, the Reds are the underdog. The plus sign means an underdog. When you see that plus sign, it tells you Vegas thinks this is a riskier bet. So, plus 144, what does that mean? That means if I put $100 down on the Cincinnati Reds, I would win $144. So I take my cash ticket, my winning ticket, go back to the booth, or if you're on an app, automatically you'll be reimbursed for $244, the $100 you bet and the $144 that you would win. That's what we call a money line bet. A money line bet is a win or loss bet. Very simple. If someone says, I'm picking this team on the money line, it's their way of saying, in gambling terms, I'm picking that team to win. I'm picking that team to win, but I'm taking it at the odds that are given. So it's not saying I'm picking that team to win. It's saying I'm taking that team on the money line. I'm taking the Brewers at minus 160. That's what a money line bet is. On the other side, there's the spread. What's the spread? The spread is where we're saying we believe a team is not just going to win, but we want to protect them. We want to protect the risk of taking them as a win by offering the number of runs they'll win by. Or if you're talking about hockey, the number of goals they'll win by. If you're talking about football, the number of points. If you're talking about basketball, the number of points or buckets. So that said, the Vegas Sportsbook here, BetMGM, is saying we believe Milwaukee isn't just the favorite, but we believe in order to get these closer to even odds, and when I say even, that's $100 bet for $100 back. That's even betting. So to get closer to that at minus 105, the Brewers have to win not just by one run, they have to win by two. They have to win by more than 1.5 runs. So when you see that minus 1.5, that's called the run line in baseball. It's called the run line. And it's saying they don't just have to win, which is the money line. They have to win on the run line, which is they win plus or minus the points. So here you go. If we're talking about the Brewers here, they're the favorite, and the minus 0.1, the 1.5, the minus 1.5 means the Brewers have to win by 2 runs in order for this bet to cash. In order for a Brewers spread bet to cash, they have to win by 2 runs. On the other side, if the Reds lose by less than 2 runs, their bet covers. Plus 1.5. They have to lose by fewer than 2 runs. That plus is often thought about as I'm giving that to them. I'm giving the Reds a run. I'm giving them a run, and now it's up to the Brewers to overcome it. If you know soccer, think of like the aggregate. They have to overcome that score that's already been assigned pregame. That's called the spread. If we went to basketball and we looked at, or hockey in this case, because they don't have the odds up, unfortunately, for basketball, we get into it. But you look at the NHL final. This is on the puck line. So the spread here is the puck line. Right now, this bet is saying if you want to bet Florida to lose, but only lose by one goal or fewer, you can get that at minus 225. Not a very advantageous bet. Not a very advantageous bet. Minus 225 is not a great play. Now, finally, the last thing I wanted to cover, we'll go back to baseball for it, is the total. The total is the total amount of points scored, total amount of runs scored, total amount of goals scored. So the total can either be referred to that way, or it will be referred to as the over-under. So during the show, you'll often hear me say, we like the over 10 runs. What I'm saying is, obviously, I like them to not just score 10 runs, I like them to score 11. And this is an important distinction. So when you see on the spread here, 1.5, and then on the total, it's just 10, that 0.5 is called the hook. And the hook is really important in sports gambling. What the hook does is it distinguishes what bet you win and lose, obviously, as they get closer to that number. So at 10, if the exact number of runs scored in the Brewers and Reds game is 10 runs, the over doesn't win. And the under doesn't win. It's called a push. You get your money back, but you don't win any money. So that hook, that 0.5, can become really important, because if you think they're going to win, they're going to score 10 runs, over 10 does you no good. So oftentimes you'll hear me go into a spread and I'll take an alternative line. I'll create my own total or my own over-under play, and I'll look for the one that allows me to have the hook, that allows me to have the 9.5 in my favor, that 0.5 in my favor. Because the 0.5 in my favor means if they score 10 runs, I make money. Now, if I took it at 10 runs and they score 10 runs, I don't make my money back. I get my original money back, but I don't make any money. So for all of those who are like, oh, how many runs are going to be scored in this game? Make sure you're aware of, is there a hook on there? You want the hook in your favor. You don't want the hook working against you. If you think 10 runs will be scored, don't take it at 10.5. Then they'd have to score 11 runs for you to win the bet. And if you think 10 runs are going to be scored, and the line, which is what the spread, which the total is set at 10, you don't like that. You want the hook in your favor. You get to 9.5. Anyways, over under is very simple. Do I like over that run total scored, or do I like the under? If I go to hockey, do I like 6 goals scored? Do I like 5 goals scored? 5 or less, 6 or more. That's a total bet, a total or under over bet. Finally, the last thing I wanted to cover in this quick tutorial for all of those who may be a bit new to sports betting, who are interested in getting more involved in it, and have come to Butt Fumble Sports as a way of having some fun with it and learning a little bit, just like, by the way, one of our loyal viewers did. And want to give a big shout out to Deadpool, because it's not easy to admit sometimes that you don't know something. Takes some footballs, if you know what I'm saying, and I was really impressed by it, and it's one of the reasons I wanted to give this little quick tutorial. So finally, the last thing we're going to cover are called prop bets, proposition bets. These are bets that can be placed on, by the way, anything. When we talk about in the Super Bowl, how long the national anthem's going to be, that's a prop bet. If we talk about how many yards a running back will have in a game, that's a prop bet. Or, in the case of baseball, you'll hear us talk a lot throughout the show about these prop bets involving strikeouts or bases, hits, runs, and RBIs combined. These are all prop bets. Vegas doesn't just want to give you the game at this point. They want to take your money in every way possible. So they offer a ton of bets. And every day we comb through to try and find the best ones because there are a lot offered, and some of them are a more favorable bet than others. However, you got to be really careful with prop bets. This is a quick way to lose your money. Quick way to lose your money, because it's almost like saying, I'm going to play fantasy football, but each player I slot into my fantasy lineup, I'm putting a bet on. So for that reason, you got to be a little careful with your prop bets. So that's a little bit of a tutorial for all of you guys. In case you're new to sports betting, you wanted to learn a little bit, I'll continue to educate you guys over the course of not just this show, but our shows in weeks, months, and years to come, because I want to make sure when you guys talk sports betting or actually go to make a sports bet, you have as much confidence as possible, so when you put your money down, there's conviction behind it. Appreciate all of you joining us. I know we are not on our traditional platform right now. TikTok is being a little bit grumpy, so we haven't been able to be on our TikTok platform, but we are on YouTube and Instagram Live. So for those who are watching on Instagram Live, TikTok decided that Butt Fumble Sports was having too much fun and gave us a 3-day hiatus. We will be back on TikTok on Monday at 1 p.m. However, we are still keeping our Cal Ripken-like streak of broadcasting 2 hours of show every single day. So we have an hour of 45 minutes to go in this show today. We will have 2 hours at 11 a.m. tomorrow and 2 hours on Sunday on Instagram Live and on YouTube. That covers what I wanted to in the first few minutes of the show. Now let's get to why we're here, the sports betting. Tyler, so great to see you today. Thank you for jumping over into YouTube. Nathan from TikTok, wonderful to see you. Thanks for jumping over. Dante, I know you're on YouTube almost every day. Great to see you. Hope you're having a wonderful afternoon. Now let's get into the reason that we're here, giving out picks. And of course, before we do that, we have to review how our picks went yesterday. Overall, not bad. Could have been better in our MLB plays. Didn't have the hottest day. But when it came to our NBA plays, not only did we hit it, I actually got to call myself out on this one. I wanted to take an alternative line for the Miami Heat. I didn't like the 9. I didn't like the 8.5. I wanted to take them Heat to cover plus 11.5. Does anyone remember what the score was last night? Heat lost by 11. We cashed on this ticket. This is how we do our betting, and this is why we go to alternative lines. So we took the Nuggets on the money line. We didn't cash on the over-under. We said the over would hit. That was a few points away. However, we did get Heat on that alternative line at 11.5. Feel really proud about that one. Felt like we did our simulations correctly, so really proud of that. That said, we came out ahead yesterday at 15-13 at 1. We did have one push in our MLB picks. Also, one thing I wanted to have a little bit of fun with, I'm going to try and pick a different team throughout the entire month to win every day. So we're going to say the Red Sox was my pick yesterday. I saw someone else on Twitter doing this, where for the 30 days a month, you pick one team to win every single day. You can't repeat it. So it's like a survivor pool, but for baseball. Thought that was a fun thing we do. So Red Sox were my pick for June 1st. We'll see how I do on my pick for June 2nd. That said, like we do every day, we delete our picks from yesterday because that's yesterday's news. Who needs that? Oops. And we put our results in the graveyard. And we get ready to answer your questions for today. Appreciate all of you being with us. Make sure you're throwing your questions and comments in the chat. We are standing by to answer all of them. So no, we don't have our normal TikTok setup, but we're ready to answer your questions. Make sure you hit the like button on YouTube. We'll let others know about the channel. And do not hesitate to ask your questions. Just like Tyler. Tyler is asking about Tyler Glasnow. 6 strikeouts, I'm assuming. So a bunch of questions from Tyler. I'm going to write them down so we can do them all at once. So Tyler Glasnow, who's going up against the Red Sox at Fenway Park, you're asking about over 6 strikeouts. Then you're asking about Freddie Freeman, over 1.5 total bases. You're dropping a $125 2-3 pick tonight. Good example for prop bets. Okay, let's see what we can do with our picks tonight. We start with Tyler Glasnow. So Tyler Glasnow, we're going to look for his strikeout total. Now, one thing I'm definitely going to keep note of, Glasnow hasn't had too many starts since he came off the IL. So not the level of confidence that I'd have in him in past years, because I'm still waiting for him to get in kind of full strength mode as he kind of returns to form. He is a stud pitcher, but still waiting on him. That said, you can see the over 6.5 has been an interesting trend. It did hit his last game, which was his first start of the season against the Dodgers at home. It's a tough one for me. Automatically, I'm kind of out on this play, Tyler, simply because I don't have a lot of data I can go off of for his history. That said, I want to jump over to Fangraphs. And I want to see how the Red Sox have done against right-handed pitchers while they've been at Fenway Park. I want to see if there's an opportunity here. Have the Red Sox been a high strikeout team at Fenway Park against right-handed pitching? And the answer is no. They're 24th in the league when it comes to strikeouts against right-handed pitching, so not a good sign there. I would avoid this play. This isn't one that I'm interested in. Would not take Tyler Glasnow over 6.5 strikeouts. Not a play for me. The next question that you asked was about Freddie Freeman, so let's jump into that. Looking for Freddie Freeman on total bases was the question. Now, Freddie Freeman is facing the New York Yankees. Luis Severino is on the mound for the Yankees. Now, Freeman, when it comes to total bases, you'll see the implied probability, 55% on the under. Don't like that, but let's look into it. Now, it's been a very hot trend on the total bases. That's a great sign. Now let's look at home. Interesting. Has hit, but bit of a slim margin. 5 out of the last 6 games at home have hit. Interesting. Again, he's facing Luis Severino. If we look at how the Dodgers have done against right-handed pitching this year, Freddie Freeman hitting .368. Wow, what a batting average against right-handed pitching. Wow. Doesn't have any at-bats against Severino. I am more endorsing this play. I'm curious if I want to throw it up on my big board. That's why I just jumped to it for a second. But Tyler, to answer your second question, I do like Freddie Freeman over 1.5 bases. However, the implied probability has me a little bit hesitant. I'd like to see hits, runs, and RBIs is a really strong play. It's going off at 1.5. I don't think I would go with over 1.5 bases. I would go with over 1.5 hits, runs, and RBIs. That's got the stronger trend to it. First of all, look at how many games. 19 out of his last 20 games, this has hit. And then if we look at it at home, this hasn't missed in his last 10. Forgive me, the last 9. So that said, love how he's hit against right-handed pitching, like how he's doing at home, but I wouldn't take over 1.5 total bases. I'm going to add this one on as our first in-show bet of the day, and that would be Freddie Freeman over 1.5 hits plus runs plus RBIs. And we're taking that at minus 150. That's a great play. And for all of those who joined us earlier in the show and I was talking about player prop bets, this is a good player prop bet. We have good track record on it. And what we're asking about is between hits, runs, and RBIs combined, can we get to 2? Love the play on this one. Jorge, great to see you on YouTube. Appreciate you jumping over. Yeah, TikTok for some reason was sensitive and gave us the boot for 3 days. So we will be on Instagram Live and on YouTube for the next 3 days, the next 2 hours of this show, and then 11 a.m. on Saturday, 11 a.m. on Sunday, and then we will be back on TikTok on Monday at 1 p.m. But hope you stay with us on YouTube to watch this entire show. We have a ton of picks to give out. I'm sure you guys would be hitting that like button if we were on TikTok. So we're going to give out a bunch of picks. We're going to be pretty quick about giving out our picks throughout the show. We appreciate all that you guys give to us and all that you do to support the show. Appreciate you guys jumping over to YouTube today. So I don't want to be slow in giving out the picks, even though we don't have our traditional means of getting you guys involved. So we're going to give out our first pick of the day. Our first pick of the day. This is a trend play. And like I said just a moment ago, we're trying a new game for the month of June. 30 days in the month of June. We are going to give out a different MLB team to win every single day. We will not repeat the same MLB team twice. We're going to try and go without 3 strikes. Every time we miss, we get a strike. Hopefully we can go the entire month without striking out. Our first MLB game pick of the day is going to be the Phillies on the money line. The Phillies on the money line, and we're taking them at minus 189. That's going to be my month of June. Try not to strike out game pick of the day. We got to come up with a better name than that. But we're going to take the Phillies for June 2nd. The Phillies on the money line. Here's our reasoning behind that play. Zach Wheeler on the mound for the Phillies against Washington National hitters, lifetime. They have just a 181 batting average against him. This is the hitters in the Nationals order or lineup. 181 average, 0 home runs, 5 RBIs, 2 walks, 24 strikeouts. Let me repeat that last bit. 2 walks, 24 strikeouts against National hitters. Love that ratio right there. On the other side, Philadelphia hitters against Josiah Gray, the starting pitcher of the Nationals, a 294 batting average, 7 home runs, 12 RBIs, 3 walks, and 15 strikeouts. The Phillies are 19-7 in their last 26 meetings against the Nationals in Washington. And the Washington Nationals are 0-7 in their last 7 games set between 7 and 8.5 runs, like tonight's game is. I like the Phillies rather. I like the Phillies on the money line. That's the first game pick that we've given out today, but that's not the last one we're going to give out today. We're going to give out a ton of picks over the course of the show. And in so doing, let's actually give out another one. I'm going to give out another one related to this game. It is an alternative line, but I am taking the Phillies, Marlins over 7.5, and I'm hoping the Phillies do much of the heavy lifting here. You heard those stats. They really rake against Josiah Gray. So I'm trusting that the Phillies bats are going to be big today. And I'm doing that in a number of ways. So let me give out my first long ball long shot of the day before we get to more of your questions. The first long ball long shot of the day. We have a couple that actually are coming in from this Phillies game. And it's going to be, we're going back to the well on this one. We missed on it yesterday, but we're going back to it. Bryce Harper, and we're taking it at plus 285. And I'm even going to double down on that. As you guys might have expected, I'm looking at Bryce Harper for another player prop bet because we love his matchup today against Josiah Gray. I will also be taking Bryce Harper over 1.5 total bases. 1.5 total bases for Bryce Harper is another play that I like. I'm getting that at minus 110. The reasoning behind the play for Bryce Harper, both to hit a home run and over 1.5 total bases. He has had 5 at-bats lifetime against Josiah Gray, 2 hits, 1 of them was a home run, 2 RBIs, 1 walk, and a strikeout. Not a huge sample size, but I like that a home run's mixed in there. Looks like Josiah Gray could be in for a big day, or a big ERA day against the Phillies. So I'm going to ride with these Phillies hitters wherever I can. Those are some picks we're getting out today to say thank you guys for joining us. Glasnow over 6 is a good trending pick. I don't like it. And the reason is I have a very small sample size on it. Only one start. I know he went over on that one start, but the reason is the Red Sox against right-handed pitching at Fenway Park are, I believe, 24th in the league in strikeouts at home against right-handed pitching. That trend and a lack of data for Glasnow has me avoiding it. I'm not saying it won't happen. I'm saying there isn't enough data behind it to encourage me to endorse it or to at least put it in front of you as a good play. So for that reason, I'm avoiding it. RJ is saying Yankees winning today. Kershaw has not been historically good against the Yankee hitters. That is a good point. Yankee hitters have actually hit Kershaw pretty well today. Now, in fantasy of DFS, Kershaw is considered the best DFS pitcher today, but that's really out of strikeouts. I do think there's an opportunity for some runs in that New York Yankees, Los Angeles Dodgers game. We'll jump into that one a bit over the course of the show. We looked at Freddie Freeman for that one, so we already have one pick from that game up on the board. Actually, let me throw out another one. I'm going to throw out another pick from that game. That's the Dodgers and the Yankees. And another pick I'm going to throw out there is going to be Aaron Judge. And I'm taking him 2 ways to Sunday. I'm taking Aaron Judge on a home run. Aaron Judge I'm getting today at plus 290. I'm also taking Aaron Judge on a player prop bet as well. I'm taking him on over 1.5 hits, plus runs, plus RBIs, and I'm taking that at minus, forgive me, it's going off at plus money. So plus 110 for Aaron Judge over 1.5 hits, runs, and RBIs. So another pick that we just gave out, that's Aaron Judge. In his career, only 3 at-bats against Clayton Kershaw. One of them was a home run. He does have a strikeout, so very small sample size for Aaron Judge, but I do like the fact that there's a home run mixed in there. Let's go quickly look at that game just to give some more insight on it. Dodgers, Yankees, definitely a game that'll have the nation's attention. If we look at it from a Yankee perspective, they are the underdog at plus 125. One thing we didn't talk about a little bit earlier in our gambling tutorial is you want to study line movement a little bit. If you look up here on the right side, line movement is talking about how the public is putting money down and how that is impacting the odds. So early on, this opened with the Yankees as a plus 135 favorite. Clearly then money came down on the Yankees because then they almost came close to even. So quickly some money came down on them. You would have to think that's what we call sharp money or smart money, which is Vegas bettors. The public usually doesn't bet right away when the odds come out because the public isn't that attentive to sports betting. So when you see that kind of line movement, that tells you that some people in Vegas or some people who do gambling for a living usually like this play. When you see that kind of line movement, it means they're putting their money down. Now, over the course of the day, that shifted back a little bit towards the Dodgers. So whether it was because Clayton Kershaw was on the mound, whether this was because it was in LA, it started with the Dodgers a pretty strong favorite. Then it almost became even money. Then it got back to the Dodgers as a strong favorite again at with the Yankees at plus 124. When you see that kind of line movement, that is encouraging to consider the Yankees. So to RJ's question, that is a sign that maybe the Yankees are the better bet, given that Vegas or the sports books, they're looking towards it. MVP Metcalf, thank you so much for joining us. Appreciate those who have jumped over from our TikTok following and come over to YouTube to watch the show today as we get benched by TikTok for a few days for reasons we still don't know. But that being said, we're looking at the Dodgers and the Yankees right now. Severino, not a lot of innings, obviously coming off the injury, but has impressed early. Meanwhile, Kershaw, a 3.32 ERA for 62.1 innings pitched, really impressive. And the strikeouts per 9, Kershaw's been fantastic this year. But to the point made just a moment ago in the chat by RJ, Clayton Kershaw against these Yankee hitters, there are some people who have good numbers against him. Anthony Rizzo, Aaron Judge, Kiner Falefa, Trevino, I know he's out. But Donaldson's back, by the way. And Giancarlo Stanton actually has decent numbers against Kershaw. It just hasn't come since 2018, which is what Outlier, the sports betting app that we use, shows. So if you guys are curious about this game, I wouldn't take the game itself. If I were to bet in any single direction, I think I would lean just slightly on the Yankees as maybe a team to pull off the upset. But really, if I were to look at this game in any way, it probably would be the Yankees on the run line. Yankees plus 1.5. That would probably be the bet if I were to put anything down on this game. But this is one I'm not going to take. Severino, similar to Glasnow, doesn't have that many starts. Don't know what I'm getting from him. I also do like the Yankees lineup against Kershaw, but not enough there to have me leaning towards the Dodgers in a strong way. MVP Metcalf, appreciate you joining us, but no, we don't have any WNBA picks because I don't have a good source of data on WNBA. If there was a good place for me to get information on the WNBA, I would help you guys out in a heartbeat. So if any of you guys know of a good website to just look at data for us to get our quantitative analysis on, we'd be all about it, but we don't really have a good source for it right now, so that's why we don't do it. For all those who are watching today, welcome to our YouTube page. Make sure that you're also following, subscribing to our YouTube channel, and hit the like on this button. It goes a long way in promoting the video and letting others know that Butt Fumble Sports is here on YouTube. So please subscribe to our YouTube page and hit the like button on our video. Again, we are on YouTube for the weekend. We will be back on TikTok on Monday, but hopefully you guys like the YouTube experience enough that you come and join us every single day here on YouTube. I think it's usually our best viewing experience. So a little bit different how we had to stream it today, so might be a little bit different, but on Monday I expect it to be back to normal. Jorge is asking about Corbin Burnes over 6.5 strikeouts. Let's look at Corbin Burnes over 6.5 strikeouts. By the way, it's amazing. We're a half hour into the show. It's amazing how quickly it goes by, having so much fun with you guys. And really appreciate the loyalty and support you guys show us by jumping over to the YouTube page. Means a lot to us as we go through this little hiccup and misunderstanding with TikTok. Okay, looking at over-under strikeouts for Corbin Burnes, the over is slightly better on the implied probability, is going off at a minus 110 price, which does have my attention, but this is pretty close. Not getting great feeling about it. It has hit in 3 of his last 4 games. That's a good sign. We do like that trend. And maybe more importantly, we want to look at it how it's done on the road. Okay, did hit in his last start. He's only really had 4 starts this season on the road. Not too many. Against the Cincinnati Reds, this has hit the last 2 times he's pitched against them in Cincinnati. Those were last year and the year before that, so not a lot of data to go off of. If we look at how he's done against the Reds over the last 4 starts, again, 2 from 2022, 2 from 2021, this has hit consistently, but the Reds are a better lineup this year than they have been in years past. Let's look at the Reds and how they've done against Corbin Burnes' lifetime. Fairchild, 1 for 2. Senzel, 1 for 2. Fraley is 0 for 3. Newman's really struggled against him. Not great numbers, and everyone but Fairchild has a strikeout against him. That's a good rate. If I look at Corbin Burnes, 8.34 is the strikeouts per 9. Not really that strong. Let's jump over to Fangraphs. How have the Reds done at home against right-handed pitching when it comes to strikeouts? We're looking at Corbin Burnes strikeouts, and so I'm going to the Reds. How have they done against right-handed pitching at home? High strikeout number, 197. That's a good number. That is encouraging. I think if I had to go in any direction on this one, I'd lean towards taking the over. Not crazy about it. The alternative line at 5.5 isn't appealing at minus 265. If I had to go in any direction on this, I would lean towards the over. Not a play that I'd necessarily be jumping to take, but is one that you could consider the over on. If you're watching right now on Instagram Live and you want to see our picks up on the screen, as well as the research that we do during our show, make sure you go to our YouTube channel. There's a link in our bio. Takes you right to our YouTube channel, Butt Fumble Sports. You can watch the entire show right there. RJ, K's for Kershaw at home is a good play. Let's go look at it really quick. I mentioned earlier that Kershaw was considered a very good play for DFS for just that reason. Let's look into it. So the over has just the slight strength of the implied probability at 51%. But again, missed in the last two starts. Both of those, though, were on the road. To RJ's point, this has been a strong trend at home. Last 3 starts it's hit. Last 4 starts it's hit, actually. 5 out of the last 6. Really strong over the last 10 starts. How have the Yankees done? Lifetime against Kershaw. We looked at that just a moment ago. When it comes to strikeouts, Torres, 2 for 3 on the strikeouts, that is. Kind of Falefa has struck out once before. Rizzo, Judge. So there are some strikeouts to be had in this Yankees lineup against them. Let's look at how the Yankees have done against left-handed pitching on the road. Left-handed pitching on the road for the Yanks. Wow. They are the 3rd lowest. Not a good trend there. 3rd lowest on strikeouts against left-handed pitching on the road. And we're far enough into the season where I'm not going to say this is too small a sample size to take some data from. I don't like it. That's too low for me. I would say avoid the strikeout play for Clayton Kershaw. I know it's been hot at home, but the Yankees, they clearly are a good team against left-handed pitching on the road. Wouldn't touch it. Wouldn't touch it. RJ's asking about Rizzo, not a good home run play. Are you asking? I thought Rizzo was actually an okay home run play. I wouldn't take it tonight, but he's not terrible, actually. If you wanted to consider it, he has pretty good numbers lifetime against Kershaw. 31 at-bats, 10 hits, a .323 average with 3 home runs, 3 doubles, 6 RBIs, 2 walks, and 5 strikeouts. So he actually has good numbers against him. Let's dive into it a little bit. I was considering taking Anthony Rizzo for home runs, but ultimately went away from it. He's not even available. He's not even available. That's why I decided not to. He's not even available. So there must be something with Rizzo. Is Rizzo out? Let me know, guys. If you guys heard some stories about Anthony Rizzo, if he's out tonight, let me know. If you guys are watching on Instagram Live and you want to see our YouTube page with all of our research right in front of you, head on over to our YouTube channel. There's a link in our bio up there on Instagram Live. Throw your questions and comments in. We're here to do your research, but while you guys are filling in the comment section with some more picks or some more questions, let me hand out some more, hopefully, winners for tonight's action. Let's get to some more MLB game picks. My first favorite MLB game pick of the night was the Phillies on the money line. Then took the Phillies on the over. Next one I like is Cardinals, Pirates, over 8.5. Cardinals, Pirates, over 8.5. We're getting that at -135. That's our next favorite play of the day. One thing we actually haven't looked at, Farika, great to see you on the channel today. One thing we haven't looked at so far is the weather. Ballparkpal.com, you know this is one of our favorite tools to use every single day. So this is a website that uses a model that lets us insert the variables around the weather at every MLB game and lets us understand how it's impacting home runs, extra base hits, singles, and overall runs. First of all, there's going to be some scoring in this Brewers Reds game. You can just see by the numbers how the weather is impacting that game. That one I'm willing to throw up on the board as well. Is Brewers, Reds, over. Let's see what we're taking that line at. Brewers, Reds, over. Do we like the 10? No, we don't. We talked about this earlier. We want to find the hook in our favor. I would go at over 8.5. Over 8.5 at -190. So over 8.5 at -190. That's an alternative line. It's an in-show research play, so I got to put my asterisk. But I do love that play. Given that the weather, if we use our ballparkpal.com research, that's a really strong play over in the Brewers-Reds game purely because of where the weather, how that's impacting scoring. Now, we just gave out another pick, which was that Cardinals-Pirates game. We like the over in that one as well. Similar reason. The weather, wind blowing out to left, or rather to right center, that's a really good home run situation there. And I actually want to give out another pick right here. I thought about taking him on a home run as well. You guys might want to consider it. I'm not, but I am putting this one out there as well. This is a player prop bet around this Cardinals-Pirates game. I am taking Jack Suwinski over half a base. Over half a base. I even considered him on a home run. He has great numbers against Jack Flaherty, the starting pitcher of the St. Louis Cardinals. So lifetime, 4 at-bats, 3 hits, 1 home run, 2 RBIs, and a walk. So 5 plate appearances. He's reached base 4 times. I'm taking it on over half a base. The minus 135. Yes, please. That feels like stealing right there, given the track record I just shared with you guys. But I also love the weather in this game. So if you wanted to take him at over 1.5 hits, runs, and RBIs, let's see what those are going at, actually. Because there might be a really good play on that one. The implied probability says no, but you can get it at even money. I'm not going to put it on the board, but you could get it at even money if you wanted it. That said, that was the latest pick that we just gave out. If you guys want more picks, let us know. Appreciate all those who are watching today on YouTube. You guys are so loyal. I appreciate it so much. Make sure you hit the like button on YouTube and make sure you subscribe to our YouTube channel. Really appreciate the support. Can't say thank you enough as TikTok sidelines us for a few days. Appreciate you guys going over to YouTube to watch us here. Make sure you hit that like button. Means a lot to us to help to promote the channel. Let's look at MVP Metcalf is asking about Zach Wheeler over 5.5 strikeouts. So let's go look at Jack Wheeler over 5.5 strikeouts. So the implied probability here is in our favor, 55% on the over. You guys know I like it when it's 55 or higher. Looking at the trends, really strong, really strong. 5 out of the last 7. This is hit. Love seeing that. On the road, even stronger. 3 games in a row. He's going up against the Nationals. How have the Nationals done against Zach Wheeler lifetime? The answer is poorly. The answer is not well. Only 1 hitter has over a 300 average. Smith, Dom Smith, who used to be with the Mets. You might want to consider Smith, actually. Let's see if we can, after we answer this question here, we might want to take him on over half a base if we can get it. But I really like what I'm seeing for Zach Wheeler. So I'm going to throw this one up on our big board as well. This is going to be an in-show research play. And that is going to be Zach Wheeler over 5.5 strikeouts. Over 5.5 strikeouts for Zach Wheeler. We are taking that at minus 125. If we look for alternative lines on this one, nothing we see that we like. Nothing that we see that we like, unless you wanted to really risk it at over 6.5 at plus 162. Kind of an interesting play, given that it's hit 3 games in a row. Head-to-head, though, hasn't been as strong a play against the Nationals. Did hit last October, but just kind of an interesting one. If you did want to take some risk on an alternative line, over 6.5 is an interesting play. Not endorsing it, not putting it up on my big board, but making you guys aware of it in case you wanted to play it. Now, let's go over to Dom Smith. That was the player prop bet that we just got out of this research around Zach Wheeler that might be interesting. So Dominic Smith. And just looking at his total bases. Going simple on this one. Over half a base. Implied probability of 65%. We're getting it at minus 183. Minus 183 is the best. I'd take it. Given his track record against Zach Wheeler, over half a base, I'll ride with it. At minus 183, not a bad in-show research play, actually. Not hating on it. Just going to throw Freddie Freeman down here with the rest of... the rest of these. There you go. If you guys have questions, let us know. We are standing by to read all of your comments, all of your questions. So if you have any around the games today, if you want to react to the NBA Finals, Game 1 last night, unbelievable performance by the Denver Nuggets. We were really proud to say that we took the Heat to cover 11.5, and that actually was a cashing ticket. I do think that the Nuggets have a strong hold on this series. If they win game 2, I could easily see them winning this series in 5. Right now, I still have I still have the Nuggets winning in 6 games. But for me, that was a really impressive win, and that wasn't even a dominant performance by the Nuggets. They played well, but they could play better. I know that the Heat missed some open shots, but really for me, that's as good as we've seen Bam Adebayo in a week, and still it wasn't enough to ultimately get a win. Not a good look. Okay, someone is asking about Chris Bassitt fantasy score. Let's see what we can do to kind of look into that. So obviously, when it comes to fantasy, might be a little bit tricky for us. RJ, we'll get to your question in just a second. Let's look at strikeouts. So Chris Bassitt, the over on strikeouts, the implied probability is slightly in your favor on the over 4.5. Okay. One place to look. You're kind of looking at 5 strikeouts. That's pretty solid. Now, if we look at earned runs, though, he did give up 7 in his last start, but it had been a pretty strong play. How have the New York Mets done against him lifetime? Against Chris Bassitt, Francisco Lindor, 1 for 3 with a home run. Vogelback, 2 for 6 with a home run. But other than that, no real numbers to speak of. How have the Mets done against right-handed pitching? Not one hitter with an average over 300. Alvarez in 291. McNeil 296. Not one hitter. But you're caring about strikeouts. How are the Mets when it comes to right-handed pitching at home? The Mets against right-handed pitching at home are the second lowest in baseball. So I'm not crazy about the play. In terms of right-handed pitching, how are they doing in terms of overall batting average? Still not a good. They don't get strikeouts, but they don't have a great average either. That's kind of surprising. Interesting number. Now, if we just go to overall runs, RBIs, runs. It's interesting that runs and RBIs aren't the same, but overall runs, they're not scoring a lot of runs against right-handed pitching at home. I'm not crazy about it because I'm trying to translate 26 fantasy points in my head to what we just offered, or 28 fantasy points. I think he could have a good game. I'm not really crazy about it, though, to answer your question. Let's go to Framber Valdez, and let's get back into some prop bets. Over 6.5 strikeouts for the Angels. Against the Angels, rather, for Framber Valdez. So we're looking at Valdez. Over 5.5 strikeouts has a really strong implied probability here at 64%. Wow, really strong. Now, you were asking about 6.5. We'll get to the alternative line in a second. But let's just be honest. If you can get it at 5.5, don't screw around. Take it there. I'm not concerned so much, actually, that he missed the over-under on this with 5, because he faced the A's in back-to-back games. You always think that an offense that faces a pitcher for a second time, especially in a week, is going to have an advantage. The fact he still got 5 strikeouts is actually a good sign. So I really like what I'm seeing from Framber Valdez on over 5.5 strikeouts. He did have 12 against the Angels about a month ago, 3 weeks ago. So love seeing that. Looking at how the Angels have done against him. Tyler Ward has good numbers. Drury has good numbers. Walsh has good numbers. A number of guys have good batting averages, but the strikeouts are pretty high here. Hunter Renfroe, high strikeout rate. Renifo, high strikeout rate. Urshela, high. Mike Trout, really high. So I like this one. I'm going to throw it up on my big board, but I'm taking the over 5.5. It is an in-show research play, so the asterisk. Framber Valdez, over 5.5 strikeouts at was that minus 180? Yep, minus 180. So that's another one we're throwing up on our big board, but not necessarily what you were asking about. You were asking about 6.5. 6.5 at minus 112. Now you're getting tight. I still think I like it. It's been a really strong play at home. I still probably like it at the 6.5, but the 5.5 is where I'm taking it. So to answer your question, RJ, I do like Framber Valdez over 6.5 strikeouts. I understand that the -110, the -112, that's an appropriate odds set mark for that. But I prefer the over 5.5. I think that's an easy ticket to cash. But not hating on the 6.5. Not throwing it up on my board, but not hating on it either. Here are the picks that we've given out so far today. 50 minutes into our show. We have a ton more to get to. Let me give out a couple picks to all those who have been watching on YouTube, who have been so great. By the way, for those who are watching on YouTube, please do us the favor. Make sure you hit the like button and make sure you subscribe to our YouTube channel. Means a lot to us. So make sure you hit the like button and make sure you're subscribing. Let me give out another long ball, long shot of the day. This one is going to be J.D. Martinez. And we're getting J.D. Martinez at plus 540. Plus 540 for J.D. Martinez against Luis Severino. We are also taking J.D. Martinez. I'll throw it up here with our pre-show picks. J.D. Martinez over, and I couldn't believe when I saw this, but it was over half a base. That was it. Over half a base at -180. I couldn't believe I was getting only half a base. Thought that was a great play. So J.D. Martinez, I'm throwing that one up there as well. Another one I want to give out. This may be an off-the-board pick because you guys aren't probably paying attention to it. Randall Grichuk. Randall Grichuk of the Colorado Rockies. He's facing Jordan Lyles today. Jordan Lyles is what we call in the industry dog poop. He is not a good pitcher. He has a high ERA. He is not good. Randall Grichuk, lifetime against Jordan Lyles, is 4 for 5. That's an 800 batting average with a home run. We are taking Randall Grichuk, but I wanted to make sure I got him at the best spot possible. So we're going to do some quick research. Randall Grichuk. Looking for bases. 1.5 bases. No. Hits. 1.5. Like it a lot more. 58% implied probability. So we're going to take Randall Grichuk over 1.5 hits, plus runs, plus RBIs, and we're taking that at -140. -140. And again, he has fantastic numbers against the starting pitcher he's facing. That's why we like Randall Grichuk today. We are going to double down on that thought and give out another pick as a thank you for all of you who are watching. And of course, make sure you're hitting the like button on YouTube. Here is our next pick that we're going to give out, another game pick. This one is going to go right to that Rockies-Royals game. And we are taking the over 9 runs at -120. Over 9 runs at -120 for Rockies and Royals. So again, those are all the picks we've given out so far for our show. Don't worry, we have a ton more to go. So one question on YouTube was about Bryce Harper. You like under 1.5 total bases. Clearly, I'm going in the other direction. I already have over 1.5 total bases on my board for Bryce Harper. I know it's going off at tough money at -110, but I like the matchup that he has against Josiah Gray. I'm not questioning it, so I'm going in the other direction than I'm just goated. Gary Sanchez over half a base. Gary Sanchez has been red hot. Ever since he got picked up by the San Diego Padres, he has been scorching hot. Let's look at Gary Sanchez in total bases. The implied probability is in his favor, 56%. He's just raking. I mean, ever since he got signed, literally has been red hot. I'm going with it. I'm going with it as well. I know it's a bit trendy right now, probably is due to miss, but screw it. It's been a hot play. I'm taking Gary Sanchez, and I'm going what you're going with. I like the over half a base. Now, he's been hitting home runs, but I'm not going with that. That seems like a bit too risky for me. But at -125, I'll take the chance on it. He has been so hot since he got signed by the Padres. Again, favorable matchup today. I like this one. I like this one right here. So appreciate that question about Gary Sanchez. If you guys have questions, we're here to answer them and do the research for you. And for those watching on Instagram Live, if you want to see my picks up on the screen right now or the research that we do to help you guys out with your fantasy or your daily sports betting, make sure you hit the link in our bio. go over to our YouTube channel. You can see the entire show, all of our picks, all of our research right in front of you. The Benihana of sports betting, serving you exactly what you need with no gimmicks, all in front of you. So if you want to see that, hit the link in our bio, go to our YouTube channel. And if you like the behind the scenes view here on Instagram Live, feel free to stick around. We're not hating on it. Appreciate those who are with us on YouTube. What other questions do we have? We have an hour and 5 minutes to go of our show, so plenty of research to still do. And by the way, a lot of picks to give out. We are not even close to giving out all of our picks. In fact, I'm going to give out a few more picks, and then when we hit the full first hour of the show completed, we are going to ask for your favorite picks. So I'm going to give out a few more picks, and in the time I'm doing that, brainstorm, what's your favorite pick of the night? So I'm going to put up another one of my favorite picks of the night up on the board. While I'm doing that, for all of those who are watching, throw in your favorite pick of the show. So throw in your favorite pick of the show. Throw in your favorite pick of the show. What's your favorite pick tonight? Would love to hear it. Would love to hear it. We're going to give out another pick that I like, but want to hear your favorite pick of the show as we continue to do our research for you. Another pick we're going to give out will be Rays, Red Sox. We're going to take the over on this one. Over 9 runs at -120. Over 9 runs at -120. By the way, I got these things confused. This is supposed to be over 8.5 at -145. Over 8.5 at -145, over 9 at -120. Got confused on my research there. So Rays, Red Sox, over 9 runs. This game, not great for home runs. Should be really good for extra base hits. Should be really good for overall runs. That's one of the reasons we like Rays, Red Sox, over 9 runs at -120. One of the questions we're getting in from YouTube is from RJ, who's asked about Yandy Diaz and Brandon Lau. Love the questions. Your head is exactly where mine is. So not that I'm gonna talk to you about it, but I'm actually gonna throw them up on my board. So RJ, you are hitting on picks that I love today. So instead of just dodging it and getting into research, I'm gonna throw it up on the board and give you the reasons why I like the picks. So first of all, we are taking Yandy Diaz over 1.5 bases, and we are taking that at -115. The reason we love Yandy Diaz over 1.5 total bases, lifetime against Garrett Whitlock, he has 8 at-bats, 4 hits, 1 home run, and 1 RBI. So a 500 batting average with a home run mixed in there. Love the play. Love the play. You also asked RJ about Brandon Lau. That's another play that we like. We aren't taking total bases on that one. Not taking total bases on that one, RJ. For Brandon Lau, we're going in a different direction. We are taking Brandon Lau over 1.5 hits, plus runs, plus RBIs, and we're taking that at -145. -145. The reason behind this play for Brandon Lau is against Garrett Whitlock. 10 at-bats, 4 hits, good for a 400 average. 2 doubles, 1 home run, 2 RBIs, 3 strikeouts. Love those stats for both Yandy Diaz and Brandon Lau. Good stats against Garrett Whitlock. Good opportunity for the Rays offense tonight. RJ saying his favorite pick of the night is the Cardinals to beat the Pirates. The Pirates have lost 5 games in which Contreras, their starter, has been on the mound. So that may be a play you guys like tonight. Cardinals to beat the Pirates. If you like that one, that is one of the first games to go off tonight. So if you do like the Pirates, or if you do like the Cardinals tonight, make sure you're getting that pick in. Or actually, no, it's not. It's the 7:05. I was confusing it with the Brewers and Reds. So Cardinals is 7:05 game. -140 on the Cardinals. RJ saying it's a good bet. Appreciate you sharing your pick with us, RJ. I'm Just Goated is asking about Gene Segura under 1.5 hits, runs, and RBIs. Interesting. We don't get too many underplays on hits, runs, and RBIs. Let's look at it. Don't get too many of those. Most of the time when we're looking at these, we're considering the over. Let's look at Jean Segura. So the under does have, let's see what the implied probability is on the over. So the over has the stronger implied probability. Not a great sign for you to start. It's been a consistent hit over the last few games. Okay. He's going up against the A's. Against right-handed pitching, he has a terrible average. If that's what you're leaning into, I don't have a good sense on this one. Jean Segura under 1.5 hits, runs, and RBIs. Part of me wants to say yes because he struggles against right-handed pitching, but it's against the Oakland Athletics. He's facing a guy with an ERA that's at 12.62. I'm not going to say take the under. I'm avoiding the play. Like, I'm not saying that the over will hit. I just look at the starting pitcher that the A's have on the mound. How can I say don't take someone in the Marlins offense? That's a tough one. Appreciate all of those who are joining our show. We are 1 hour into our 2-hour show. Appreciate all those who are with us as we transfer over from TikTok to YouTube. TikTok has sidelined us for a couple days, so we are live for another hour today of our show on YouTube, as well as Saturday at 11 a.m. and Sunday at 11 a.m. We will be back on TikTok Live as well as YouTube at 1 p.m. on Monday. But continue to watch our show every day. So today we have another hour of our show to go. A ton of picks to still give out, including some more long ball, long shots of the day. We've only gotten to half of the ones that I have in my research. We also obviously have more MLB game picks and player prop bets to get into. If any of you guys have questions, make sure you hit us up with them. Farika says, I don't know what teams the players are on to play them. Are you saying in our picks on the board? Because you should be able to search the name and the pick should be able to come up. However, if you do want to look into our research a little bit more, one thing you can do is go to our website, buttfumblesports.com, and every single day we put out our daily fantasy lineup of the day. We put out our MLB game picks of the day, as well as we give you the hitters with the best stats against the pitchers they'll be facing that day. So if you want to know which team they're on, you can go find it. The team is right next to the name. So if you want to be able to do your own research and use our website as a source, you can go to buttfumblesports.com, go to our blogs, and look up the best hitter-pitcher matchups of the day, and you can find them right there. RJ is asking about a really good bet I like. Let's go look at what RJ is asking about. So RJ is asking about Jason Hayward to get a hit today. Jason Hayward to get a hit. And yes, the answer is I do love that play. Jason Hayward to get a hit. He has good numbers lifetime against Severino, or decent numbers. I'm not going to say good. They're pretty good. Let's look at Jason Hayward, though. And you were asking specifically about a hit. So let's look at that. Get a hit. He's not showing up. Jason Hayward not showing up. Whether he's not in the lineup, not seeing his name come up. So the sports books don't have anything around it. Might not be in today. Appreciate all those who are watching. If you're watching on Instagram Live and you have a question about today's action, if you want to see my picks, you can go over to YouTube. If you want to see our picks, they're up on the screen right now on YouTube. Mills, you can hit the link in our bio, takes you right to our YouTube channel. Butt Fumble Sports, you can see all of our picks up on the screen right now. We were just being asked about Jason Hayward. Unfortunately, no data behind him, which is unfortunate, because I actually do like his matchup today against Severino. If you guys have any questions about the NHL Stanley Cup final game tonight, let us know. Happy to do some research around that one. I'm just going to MVP Metcalf. Yeah, I know you're trying to get your 12 in here. I know you're trying to ask about the Seahawks. MVP Metcalf, this goes for all of you football fans out there. If you want to check out our NFL picks, we are going to do a special series every Tuesday night where we are going to go through every week of the NFL season to see who's going to win each matchup every week. We just went through week 1. Teaser for you, the Seahawks play week 1, and we gave a pick. That's as much as I'll reveal. But you can check out our pick for NFL week 1. That video is also up on YouTube. So MVP Metcalf, appreciate you joining us. Will the Seahawks win the West? I'll just say for now, yes, I do think the Seahawks will win the West. I do think they're the most complete team. I think there are quarterback questions for the San Francisco 49ers. I think that will delay the 49ers from getting off to a really hot start, and ultimately that will give the Seahawks the advantage they need. Okay, RJ, you're crushing it on the questions today. You're asking, is there a good prop for Suarez? I was looking at him for a home run, but I didn't have the balls to go for it. Let's see if because he has decent numbers against the pitcher he's facing today, but it's like a 278 average, but he has like 3 home runs against him. So it's one of those in which it's not a slam dunk, but at the same time, I'm really on the edge. I want to take him, but let's look at total bases. Oh, you have us winning that game. Good call. Glad you watched. So over half a base, 61% implied probability at -155. That's a really strong play. That I'd actually take right now as an in-show play. So Suarez over half a base at -150 or 155. Is it 150 or 155? 155 over half a base, strong implied probability. That's one I really like. So that's one involving Suarez that I like. Pretty good odds on that. If I went to hits, runs, and RBIs, the implied probability not in my favor here. If I do look at home runs, just to think if he gets another home run off of John Gray, the starting pitcher of the Texas Rangers, you can get it at +500. I'm not putting it up there, but one to consider. That said, I will share another one of my favorite long ball, long shots of the day. So another hitter that I like to hit a home run today is Jared Kelenic. Jared Kelenic at +450. Jared Kelenic at +450 is another one I like today to hit a home run. I'm going to give out another player prop bet today. This one I got to go check to make sure I'm getting the correct odds on it. We have been riding Ketel Marte for a while now. The dude's been red hot. So over 1.5 bases, nope, that doesn't work for us. Over 1.5 hits, bingo, that's the one that works for us. So we'll also throw this one up on the board. Ketel Marte over 1.5 hits, plus runs, plus RBIs has been a very good ticket of late, and we are getting that at -140. -140. Appreciate all those who are joining us and watching the show. If you're watching on Instagram Live and you want to see our picks up on the screen, you can hit the link in our bio, take you right to our YouTube page, Butt Fumble Sports. Again, for all of those who have just joined us, we will be on YouTube and Instagram Live today, Saturday, and Sunday, and we will return to TikTok on Monday when they give us the go-ahead to get back on the TikTok Live platform. So for the next few days, we will be on YouTube and Instagram Live. Again, we have about 50 minutes left of our show today, and then we will be live on Saturday at 11 a.m., and Sunday at 11 a.m. That way you never miss a day, never miss a show, never miss a pick, and of course, never miss the opportunity to ask your question and to get some research around the picks that you like. So already we've thrown up a bunch of picks up on the board, waiting to hear. Would love to hear some of your favorite picks of the day. If you have a favorite pick and you're watching on Instagram Live or on YouTube, throw your favorite pick of the day in the comments section. Would love for those who are viewing the show to know what some of your favorite picks are. We call this the celebrity pick of the day. So if you have a celebrity pick to make, let us know your one favorite bet of the day. Can be a player prop bet, can be an MLB game pick, can be a total play, can be a Stanley Cup final play, whatever your favorite one bet of the day is. We heard from RJ. He loved the Cardinals on the money line. We feel pretty good about that one as well. Let us know what your one favorite pick of the day is. If you're watching on Instagram Live or on YouTube, be that celebrity who steps up to the plate and hits a home run. Let us know your one favorite pick of the day. Continuing to give out some of my favorite picks of the day as you guys do your brainstorming. I'm going to give out a few more. Another one that I like, I'm going to put it next to his teammate right here. I like Trey Turner over 1.5 bases. Over 1.5 bases. And I'm getting that at -110 for Trey Turner. Trey Turner, lifetime against Josiah Gray. 5 at-bats, 3 hits, 1 home run, 1 double, 2 RBIs, and a strikeout. So 2 of his 3 hits have been extra base hits. Like that one right there. I'm going to get to the question about Steven Kwan in a moment, but that question's about strikeouts, and I actually have a pick today involving a strikeout. So it's a player who I think is going to get a strikeout today. Not great odds, but I'll throw it up on the board anyways. And this one's going to be Justin Turner. Justin Turner of the Boston Red Sox over half a strikeout. So Justin Turner over half a strikeout, and we're taking that at -125, -235. So over half a strikeout. Need to get the strikeout in there. Over half a strikeout for Justin Turner, -235. You may want to throw that one into a parlay. One leg of maybe a 2 or 3 leg parlay. The reason we love that play, lifetime against Tyler Glasnow, Justin Turner is 0 for 6 with 3 strikeouts. So 6 at-bats, 0 hits, 3 strikeouts. That's what we're looking for. We are looking for that kind of trend. The question we just got in was Steven Kwan over half a hit. Over half a strikeout. Steven Kwan over half a strikeout. Let's go look at it. He is not someone that traditionally is a big strikeout guy. He's tough to strike out, so let's see. Interesting. It is a better play here, given the implied probability is pretty consistent. Man, what am I saying? He's been striking out really consistently. I didn't know Steven Kwan was struggling like that. Wow. Really consistent play. Goes to show where my head's at. I was unaware that he had this kind of consistency on strikeouts. Wow. He's also facing Bailey Ober, who's a good pitcher. Now, lifetime against Ober, Kwan is 0 for 6. Doesn't have a strikeout lifetime. So kind of interesting here. Lifetime against Bailey Ober, Kwan doesn't have a strikeout. So even though it's been a very consistent play, it's been a very consistent ticket, he doesn't have a strikeout. Now, he is 0 for 6, so that's optimistic, but no strikeout. I'll say, if I had to go in a direction, I'll say yes, but the fact that he's never struck out, even though he's 0 for 6, he's never struck out against them, a bit of hesitation there, so I'm not going to put it up on my big board, but an interesting pick out of nowhere. Not one that I saw. Interesting call. Appreciate all those who are watching the show. If you have a question, whether you're watching on Instagram Live or on YouTube, never hesitate to throw your question or comment in the chat. That is what we're here for. But Fumble Sports wants to help you guys out with everything that you guys need to be able to cash tickets every single night. Let's look at that Stanley Cup final game really quick. Let's look at the Stanley Cup final. Game 1 is tomorrow night. Game 1 is tomorrow night. But if any of you guys are trying to find a good place to take this bet, Panthers plus 1.5 is definitely where my head's at. I'd also be looking at the under. I like the under a little bit more than I like the over. I understand in a first game you might like the over. Golden Knights have been really hot on the over, but the Panthers have not. The Panthers have been a better underplay, so I definitely consider the under on this one as well. I also like the Panthers to cover the puck line, but we will get into more of that tomorrow. Have a couple of questions coming in from YouTube. Rafi Devers over 1.5 bases. Kyle Schwarber, 1.5 hits, runs, and RBIs. So interesting, you hit on 2 guys that I'm actually gonna get to. So interesting, you ask about both of them. I'm going to give them out as picks, and then we'll dive into it a little bit more. So first, I'll put this one next to his teammates. I do like Kyle Schwarber over. I'm not taking total bases. I'm taking over 1.5 hits, plus runs, plus RBIs for Kyle Schwarber, and I'm getting that at minus 130. Kyle Schwarber, lifetime against Josiah Gray, 10 at-bats, 4 hits. 2 of the 4 hits have been home runs. 1 was a double, 2 RBIs, 2 walks, and 3 strikeouts. Now, if we jump over to Outlier and we look at what the player prop bet is for Kyle Schwarber, to explain it a little bit more, if I go to total bases, the under is the stronger implied probability, but if I go to hits, runs, and RBIs, the over is the stronger implied probability. That's why we're going with the over 1.5 hits, runs, and RBIs for Kyle Schwarber. On the other side, you were asking about Rafi Devers over. Now, you went with bases. I'm going in the other direction. I'm going over 1.5 hits, plus runs, plus RBIs for Rafi Devers. I got that at minus 145. Again, if we go to look at it, Rafi Devers, if I start with bases, the under has the stronger implied probability if I go to total bases for Rafi Devers. If I go to hits, runs, and RBIs, the over has a really strong implied probability at 59%. So we're riding the implied probability. We want to see the one that's got the better likelihood of hitting. We like the over 1.5 hits, runs, and RBIs more than total bases for Rafi Devers. But the answer is we like both of those. We love Rafi Devers. By the way, I picked Rafi Devers to hit a home run last night. He hit a ball to like the deepest part of the ballpark at Fenway Park into that triangle in right field, into a dead center, slightly right of center. Brutal. Was a double, would have been a home run in like any other park, but of course at Fenway Park, that's just a long double. So really frustrated by that, but we bounce back and we still take him today. It's a good sign. It tells me Rafi Devers is starting to heat up, sorry. Okay, we have another long ball, long shot of the day that I want to give out. Another long ball, long shot of the day to give out, and that is going to be Ian Happ. Ian Happ of the Chicago Cubs. This is going to be our longest long ball, long shot of the day at plus 560. Plus 560 is the long ball, long shot of the day, odds on Ian Happ. If we're looking for an Ian Happ player prop bet, though, might be a bit trickier. Let's go and try and find one. So Ian Happ. So the over 1.5 hits, runs, and RBIs doesn't have the good implied probability. On over total bases, the over half a base, that's the good play. So we're going to also take Ian Happ. Over half a base. At minus, what do we see at minus 170? Minus 170. So there's another play for you. Ian Happ to hit a home run, and we like him on over half a base. Okay, getting a question in from YouTube about Contreras under 4 strikeouts. Let's go look at Contreras. Looking at strikeouts for Contreras. So the under 4.5 has a really strong implied probability here at 64%. You were asking about under 4. Again, this goes to something we talked about at the beginning of the show. You want this hook in your favor. So if you're taking it at 3.5, minus 180, maybe not as attractive. Under 4.5, that actually might be worth it to you at minus 158. Plus, really consistent. 4 games in a row it's missed, and you actually might want that extra hook in your favor for the 4.5. So I like it here. The under 4.5, strong play. Going up against the Cardinals team, lifetime against him. Not too many hitters have struck out against him. Walker, who's not with the team. Arenado, but only, 25% of the time. Not bad for 10 at-bats. And Gorman. This isn't bad. This is pretty good, actually. I would say I like it, and I'm gonna throw it up on my board as well. We usually don't take strikeout on the under, but we will here. Roansy, Contreras, under 4.5 strikeouts. Interesting bets today. And we got that what, minus 153, minus 158. Interesting bets. Having a lot of fun with you guys, finding some creative bets that we can put up on our big board. As you can see, we've given out a lot of in-show bets throughout the course of the last hour and 20 minutes. We still have more to give out, so keep asking your questions. Throw them in the comments section. We are still here for another 40 minutes to answer all of your questions, so do not hesitate. We're here to help you guys out. We have more picks to give out, so never hesitate to ask your questions. If you want help, we're here for it. I do, by the way, love to see matchups like the Dodgers versus the Yankees. Like, I love to see some of the classic matchups from the 1950s and 60s. You don't get those too often. Dodgers-Yankees is just a classic. How many World Series were those two franchises involved in? Really, the history of Major League Baseball. Obviously, it runs through New York when New York had 3 pro baseball teams, the Yankees, the Dodgers, and the Giants. This is back before the move out to LA. Now it's so great to now see the Yankees out in LA. For all of those Dodger fans who are with us, I know we have a bunch who are part of the show every day. We're very loyal viewers. I hope you guys are settled in tonight. Should be a wonderful night for baseball. Obviously, a lot of star power in that game, but maybe more importantly, just the Americana of Yankees and Dodgers going head-to-head again. It brings me such good energy, and not only that, it gives us another reason to talk about Vin Scully in a way that we don't get to as much now that he's passed on, but Vin Scully is the ultimate New Yorker who went out to LA and won the West Coast hearts. So I love to see Yankees and Dodgers. I'm looking forward to that game. Definitely going to have it up on my TV tonight as I do my research for tomorrow morning's show. But really excited about that. Again, Dodgers, Yankees, if you're a real baseball fan, that's one that you probably want to make an appointment watching tonight. Here are all the picks that we've given out so far in the last hour and 20 minutes of our show. Having a lot of fun doing it. Hope you guys are as well. I know we're not on our traditional platform, and that way we're not getting our confetti or we're not getting some of the comment section that we normally do on TikTok. But hope you guys have enjoyed our show on YouTube. We try every day to deliver a product for you guys that's enjoyable, that's entertaining and informative. Hope you guys are enjoying it. If you are and you're watching on YouTube, make sure you subscribe to the channel. Really appreciate you guys becoming a part of this unbelievable community we have it here at Fumble Sports, as well as hit the like button for the video. Goes a long way in promoting the channel, letting others know that there's a great sports content page that's available to them that they can go to every single day. And that's our goal. We want to be live every day to help you guys out with your picks, your bets, and in the case of Deadpool and others, explain some things. If you guys don't understand something, never hesitate. This is a judgment-free zone. If you don't understand what a prop bet is, or if you want an explanation about a spread, why we put a certain unit down on a certain bet, we are here to answer all of those questions. So it doesn't just have to be about a specific bet. It can just be about sports betting in general. How do you find different sports books? Which research do you like? What are some of the websites that you use? There are a lot of different places that we can go to find that stuff. Bassett over 4.5 strikeouts. Let's go look at it. We talked a little bit about Chris Bassett earlier. The implied probability, as we showed earlier, the over is slightly better on the 4.5. You can see it's been a pretty strong trend. We looked at the Mets. Might be a good play here tonight. I would probably lean just slightly towards the over, but what I'd really do is I'd consider taking, no, it's not a good line. So Jorge, I would consider the over on Bassett. Not crazy about it though. For me, I wouldn't put it up on the big board. It's not as sexy a trend as the trend line would, or it's not as sexy a play as the trend line would consider it. But if I look at on the road, there you see, you're just living on the edge. The 4.5, the hook right there, you're going to be sweating it. So I could see him getting 4. Can he get to 5? Really tough. I would avoid it, but if you have your heart set on it, I would lean just slightly towards the over. For Rico, what about stolen bases? What about stolen bases? Good question. Let's do some research. Pitchers who allow most stolen bases. Razzball, I talked about this website the other day. It lets us see some of the pitchers who are really bad at holding runners on base. Do we see any of today's starting pitchers? Contreras, that's one we see. Contreras is one. So then it makes us go, okay, Contreras is facing the Cardinals. Cardinals, 23 leaders in stolen bases. And if we go over to ESPN, and we're going to look at who has the most stolen bases. Tommy Edman. Edman and Nootbaar are the two. So if you were to take a stolen base, the pitcher that of all the starters that we've seen for today's game who gives up the most, Contreras. Go over to the Cardinals who are facing him. Who has the most stolen bases? Tommy Edman. All right, let's do some reverse engineering. Let's look for Tommy Edman total stolen base total. What his stolen base total is. So we go to stolen bases. We go to Tommy Edman. And you see the over. Decent probability at 29%. You could get it at plus 245. Let's have some fun with it. We're going to put it in its own little section here. For stolen bases, we're going to say Tommy Edman. Over half a stolen base. And we're going to take that at plus 245. Plus 245 on a stolen base from Tommy Edman. And again, you can get that almost not too far off from some guys hitting a home run. So it kind of makes it an interesting play. For those who are just joining the show, we have about a half hour left to go. All of our picks are up on the screen right now. So all of the picks that we've given out so far in our show, make sure you hit that like button if you're watching on YouTube. Really appreciate the support. Tyler, you asked about Freddie Freeman total bases. We went into Freddie Freeman over 1.5 hits, runs, and RBIs. If you're asking about total bases, we can dive into that one as well, though we kind of gave out the pick we like for Freddie Freeman. If I look at total bases, over 1 doesn't have the stronger implied probability. The hits, runs, and RBIs do. That's why we went with it. So the answer is we wouldn't play total bases. We would go with hits, runs, and RBIs. So you can actually see there are a number of sports books that take hits, runs, and RBIs. Let's just show you. DraftKings is the one right now that I'm seeing it. DraftKings is the one that has it. Interesting that the other sports books don't. I'm only seeing DraftKings. So hits, runs, and RBIs, I'm seeing just for DraftKings. Interesting. I would have thought others would play that because that's a fun bet. That's a fun bet. In part because total bases so often isn't as strong a play. You get someone who only gets 1 hit, a single, but he also has a sac fly later in the game. That's one that cashes that hits, runs, and RBIs. So again, you want to be on multiple sports books. DraftKings is one in which you can get this hits, runs, RBIs prop bet. Appreciate all those who are with us, all those who are watching. We have been live for about an hour and a half right now. If you guys have questions or want any research done, throw it in the chat. We are here for it. Quick note about the NBA game, the NBA Finals game. If you want to see our pick for Game 2, we dropped that earlier today on our website. So if you go to our website, buttfumblesports.com, you can check out our NBA game pick, our NBA Finals Game 2 pick. So if you're curious about, will the Heat come back? Will the Nuggets secure a 2-0 series lead? You can go check out our game pick, as well as our DFS lineup, our MLB trend plays of the day, as well as our favorite hitter-pitcher matchups of the day. Tyler, you asked about Gene Segura a little while ago on 1.5 hits, runs, and RBIs, didn't you? Thought we covered that one. The over does have the stronger implied probability on over hits, runs, and RBIs for Gene Segura. Oh, you were asking about the under. So the over's been the stronger play. As I mentioned earlier, I'm not going to put it up on my board, but if I had to go in any direction, they're facing a starting pitcher who has an ERA of 12.62. That makes dog poop look appealing. Like 12.62 ERA, woof. Woof, woof, woof. That is awful. So if I had to go in any direction on this, I would take the over 1.5 hits, runs, and RBIs for Jean Segura. Another question that we're getting in, Luis Castillo over 6.5 strikeouts. Let's go look at it. Looking at Jean Segura on strikeouts, or not Jean Segura on strikeouts, Luis Castillo. Luis Castillo total strikeouts. So the under has the stronger implied probability here. The 6.5 doesn't look like it's a strong play. We'll look at it from an over perspective. It has hit in 3 of the last 4 games, interestingly enough. But look at who those games are against. Pirates, A's, Rangers, interesting. 3 of the better lineups. He hasn't hit it. He's facing the Rangers again. He did get 9 strikeouts against them earlier in the year, about 3 weeks ago. But you can see the strikeouts were up, but the overall performance wasn't that great. Let's see how Texas hitters have done against him. Okay, there's some guys who do strike out pretty high against him. Miller, Heim, Lowe, Young, Garcia, Smith. This isn't a terrible play. I'm not crazy about the 6.5. The 5.5, the problem is, I freaking hate that. 5.5 is set at minus 209. This is garbage. I really hate this play. I appreciate the question, and I want to help you out here, but I hate that they set an alternative line at 5.5, set at minus 209. Screw you, Sportsbook. That's a screwy way. I either have to take it at even money or minus 209. I don't like the bet. Like, this is one in which I feel like the Sportsbook is putting you in a box and trying to squeeze you. I don't like it. So to answer the question that we got on this play, the Luis Castillo over 6.5 strikeouts, I'm going to heavy fade this one. I don't like how the Sportsbook is trying to put you in a corner. I know the trend says one thing, but I don't have enough confidence on it. The over 6.5 at even money, no, I don't like it. Over 5.5, I have to take it at 209. Screw you. I'll find a different bet that I put my money on. And yes, I am feisty about this because I feel like a Sportsbook should offer at least one bet that's appealing. Both of those aren't. Avoid it. Don't touch it. Not about it. Getting a hockey question in here. Getting a hockey question from JB. JB, thanks for watching. Hope you're enjoying the show. JB is asking about Matthew Tkachuk over under 3.5 shots on goal. Let's go look at it. So we're looking at prop bets for the NHL. We are looking at Matthew Tkachuk. And you're looking at shots on goal. Okay, the under has the stronger implied probability. I know that this has been it's really been a hot or cold play in the last series, but that hadn't been the case for a majority of the playoffs. So I got to be really hesitant about this one. I would prefer to take the under on it, under 3.5. Head to head, 3-4 in the last 2 games against the Knights doesn't tell you a lot. Let's look at it on the road. On the road, yeah, it's hitting 2 of the last 3 games, but that's not enough to have confidence on. I prefer the under. I prefer the under on 3.5 shots on goal for Matthew Tkachuk. By the way, if I'm taking it on the under 3.5, I'm getting it at minus 130. So minus 130 if I take the under. If I do take the over, it goes off at plus money, but I prefer the under on that one. So JB, to answer that question, if I had to go in any direction, again, this isn't one I put on my big board. By the way, Stanley Cup Finals, you see block shots way more than you do in the regular season, than even earlier in the playoffs. I expect there to be a lot of block shots. That is another reason for me to kind of lean towards the under 3.5 shots on goal. For all those who are just joining the show, here are all the picks that we've given out so far today. So in case you missed any of them, here they are, all up on your screen. Getting another question in from YouTube about Charlie Morton strikeouts. Charlie Morton strikeouts. Let's go dive into it. So Charlie Morton, same implied probability on strikeouts over under 5.5. That's kind of interesting. Has been a pretty consistent play this year, actually. 5 out of the last 6 starts, this has hit. And the only time it missed was against the Dodgers. In fact, this season, other than his first start of the year, he's had at least 5 strikeouts in every game. That's a pretty good look. Against the Diamondbacks, not a lot of great data on this. A start from 2022, one from 2021. Not going to take too much from that. Over the last 20 games, no, let's look at the last 10. Let's look at on the road. Okay, last 2 games it's hit, so I like that it's trending in that direction. If I had to go in any one direction for this, I'd lean slightly towards the over, but let's look at it from a Arizona Diamondback standpoint. At home against right-handed pitching, the Diamondbacks are 19th in the league in strikeouts. How do I feel about it? It's okay. It's not great. Not crazy about it. Not going to put it up on my big board. If I had to lean in one direction, I'd lean slightly towards the over 5.5, but not crazy about it. Okay, Jorge is asking about Clayton Kershaw over 4.5 hits allowed. Let's go look at it. Clayton Kershaw, 4.5 hits allowed. So Kershaw, over 4.5 hits allowed. The implied probability suggests this is a really strong play. You brought it up. 5 games in a row this is hit. I also do like him facing the Yankee hitters. They do have good numbers against him. I'm going to throw this one up on my board. I've never taken actually this bet before. Clayton Kershaw over 4.5 hits allowed. Have never taken a hits allowed bet on the show before, but willing to do it now at minus 125. I like it. Let's play it. Let's see what we get. Appreciate all of those who are with us, who have been watching the show loyally throughout the last hour and 40 minutes. Having a lot of fun with you as we try to cover everything around the world of sports and, of course, answer all of your questions. Just making sure you can see all of our picks up on the screen. There you go. So in case you missed anything over the last hour and 40, that's what we've got up on our screen. If you've got questions, we're going to do our best to help you guys out. Tyler, you're asking about fantasy questions. I'll do the best I can, but, you know. Let's see. Jorge Soler. Let's look at hits, runs, and RBIs. The implied probability is on the over. That's a great sign for you. Again, he's going up against a pitcher that's garbage. Like trash. Like terrible. So, Tyler, I would say take the over on that. Tyler's now asking about Julio Rodriguez on over on fantasy points. I'm going to do the same thing I just did. Julio Rodriguez, over hits, runs, and RBIs. I like the over. I like the over. Strong trend. He's going up against John Gray. His numbers lifetime against Gray aren't good though, so maybe not. I'm not as big on the fantasy points because I don't know how your league counts the points. Tyler, I would say I do like Jorge Soler. I do not like Julio Rodriguez. I'll say that, Tyler. Appreciate all of you guys being with us. Make sure you're putting your question and comment in the chat. If you've got a question about tonight's games, a player prop bet, anything you guys need help with, we're here to help you guys out. So Tyler, to answer your question a moment ago, Soler, yes. Julio Rodriguez, no. And by the way, if any of you guys are worried or are wondering about what the weather is in our baseball games, go to ballparkpal.com. Ballparkpal.com. Oops. Ballparkpal.com is a place you can go to see how every game is going to be impacted by the weather, and that way you can see if there is a higher likelihood of home runs, extra base hits, singles, or overall runs. Again, look at some of the games with the high probability of overall runs. Brewers Reds, Cardinals Pirates, Phillies Nationals, Guardians Twins, Rockies, Royals, Rays, Red Sox, Braves, Diamondbacks. All of these are good to take on the over. All of them are good to take on the over. By the way, the fact that Yankees Dodgers has the wind blowing out to right and it's only set at a 0 for overall runs, I actually really like. The likelihood of home runs is up in that one as well. Could be a good opportunity in that game. In fact, kind of want to see what Max Muncy's going off for a home run. What's Max Muncy getting for a home run? 23% implied probability. His stats against Severino doesn't have any. I'm going to throw Max Muncy into my home run picks as well. At plus 340, wind blowing out to right field, righty-lefty matchup. Max Muncy, we're taking that at plus, what did we say that was at? Plus 340. Plus 340. So that's another pick we just threw up on the board. We like Soler because the implied probability on over hits, runs, and RBIs is above the threshold that we like it at, and he's facing a pitcher that's garbage. He's facing a pitcher in the Oakland A's who has an ERA above 12.6, and that's why we like Soler tonight. Appreciate you guys being with us. If you got a question, we're getting closer to the end of our show. Make sure you get those questions in. I want to make sure we help you guys out as much as we can before we sign off the air. Jorge, you're asking about Ketel Marte over half a run, and it's hitting his last 5. Jorge, we like the over 1.5 hits, runs, and RBIs for Marte. I'll look at what his overall half a run is. I still like that. I still prefer the hits, runs, and RBIs more, but we'll look at overall runs. So to score half a run, yeah, don't like it. The implied probability isn't in our favor, so I know it's hit in 5 straight games, but I would avoid it on this one. And again, I like Marte. I just like him at hits, runs, and RBIs more. So we want to find the best bet. I don't like the runs. I like the hits, runs, and RBIs more. If you're watching on YouTube, make sure you subscribe to Butt Fumble Sports. Make sure you're subscribing to Butt Fumble Sports. That way you know every time we're live, you can check out all of our content, and it makes you a part of this unbelievable Butt Fumble Sports community. So make sure you're a buddy. That's with 2 T's. Make sure you're with us. Oh my God, forgive me. Make sure you're with us every single day. Sometimes you get talking on a show like this and you get the hiccups, and it's like, come on now. Come on, we're trying to get our word out. We're trying to get our picks out. We're trying to get our info out. Hope you're having a wonderful Friday afternoon. If you guys have any wonderful weekend plans, we'd love to hear it. Is anyone going to a ball game this weekend? Is anyone going to a game? Is anyone going to the Stanley Cup final? Is anyone going to the NBA finals? Let us know if any of you guys are attending any games. As well, let us know your favorite pick of the day. If you have a favorite pick of the day, I'm going to throw up on my board one more time. If you have a favorite pick of the day, throw it up right now in our comment section. If you have one favorite pick, it can be an MLB game pick. It can be a total play. It can be a player prop bet. It can be a Stanley Cup pick for tomorrow. If you have one favorite pick, share it with everyone who's watching it now. Throw it in the comment section. If you're watching on Instagram, if you're watching on YouTube, throw your one favorite pick of the day in the comment section. Would love to hear what it is. Again, all of our favorite picks are up here on the screen. So in case you've missed any of them, you can see them right here. If it has a bullet point next to it, it means it's a pick that we did our research before the show on. We did our research last night or this morning on that pick. So we had it all loaded up in our research prior to the show. If there's an asterisk next to it, it means we were doing our research during the show. We found a pick that we really like, either based off of your suggestion or something that we just stumbled upon. So that's the difference with the picks up on our big board. Appreciate all of those who are with us. We have been live for 1 hour and 45 minutes. If we have any more questions, any more comments, make sure you get them in. We're running out of time. I am going to give out a few more picks, so make sure you're still with us. Jorge is saying Panthers money line, Heat money line. Bold pick, Jorge. I like the Panthers on the money line more than I like the Miami Heat. Heat on the money line could be a very bold pick for game 2. If you want to see my pick, make sure you go to our website, buttfumblesports.com. Oh, it's a for fun play. Florida team parlay. Okay. While you're doing it, you might as well throw the Marlins in there going up against the Oakland Athletics. You really should complete the trifecta and go with the Florida teams of Panthers money line, Heat money line, and Marlins on the money line. By the way, not endorsing that at all. Not endorsing that because I think Denver is going to probably win game 2. But I do think the Heat are going to cover. The question is at what spread. So make sure you go check out our game pick. It's up on our website right now at buttfumblesports.com. If you're watching on Instagram Live and you want to see all of our picks from our show so far up on the screen, hit the link in our bio, takes you right to our YouTube page. You can see all of our picks. We're streaming live on YouTube, and that way you can see all of our picks. And whether you want to fade them or whether you want to fade or follow, you're into it. Have a few more picks I'm going to give out. So make sure you're with us. About to drop a few more picks for you. Next one we're going to give out is Adam Frazier. And we're going to take him at over 1.5 hits, plus runs, plus RBIs. Adam Frazier over 1.5 hits, plus runs, plus RBIs. And we are taking that at minus 155. At minus 155. There's another play for you in case you guys were worried that I was going to drop any more. Starting to get low on them, though. We've given out a ton of picks over the course of the show. If you have any more questions, let us know. We're almost going to wrap up the show pretty soon. So make sure you're putting in your comments and your questions. Wrapping up the show pretty soon. So get them in. Final few minutes of the show. Don't want to miss an opportunity. If you have any more gambling questions, by the way, it can be about tonight's games, can be about tomorrow night's Stanley Cup final game. But if you have any more questions, anything else you want to get to, get it in now. We're getting to the final minutes of the show. Probably going to jump off here in a minute or two. So you don't want to miss any more research. Make sure you're asking your questions. Going to jump off in a minute or two. So final few minutes, get them in now. Don't want to miss out. By the way, I also do want to say, if you ever want to contact us when we're not on air, if we're ever off the air, but you got a question or you want to contact us or engage with us, there are 2 ways you can do it. You either can DM us on Instagram, TikTok, or on Twitter, or, of course, you can go to our website, buttfumblesports.com, and go over to this Contact Us page. You can sign up for our free newsletter, but you can also write a comment. Hit us up. We would love to hear from you. That way we can get your feedback, your reactions to the show. Would love to hear everything you guys have around the world of sports, whether it's your take, your content ideas, how Butt Fumble Sports can be better. We'd love to hear from you. So if you ever want to reach us and we're not streaming live on the show, make sure you go over to our YouTube channel, to our website rather, buttfumblesports.com, and make sure you contact us. We'd love to hear from you. Thoughts on Freddie Freeman over 1.5 bases? I feel like we've covered this a couple times in today's show. So if we had to go in one direction, I would go with over 1.5 hits, runs, and RBIs. We did this a little bit earlier in the show. So we looked at Freddie Freeman, over bases. And like I said earlier, doesn't have a good implied probability. Not one we like. We like the hits, runs, and RBIs more. So that's what we're going with. Okay, appreciate you guys being with us today. I think we're going to sign off today. We've been live for 1 hour and 50 minutes. Appreciate you guys being with us. This has been a wonderful show. I know you guys have had to bear through it a little bit since we're not on our normal platforms. If you're watching on YouTube, thank you so much, especially for those who came over from TikTok to watch on our YouTube channel. Thank you so much. We so appreciate you guys not just following us and subscribing, but obviously your loyalty every single day, watching every show. We are so grateful to this community. So a big shout out to all of those who watched. Tyler, Blease, Ryan, Mark, Will, Jorge, big shout out to you. JB, thank you so much for watching. Farika, thank you for watching. Caesar, RJ, big shout out to you. Again, big shout out to the loyal followers that we have on TikTok. I know it might be a little frustrating not being there today. MVP Metcalf, thank you so much for coming over. Appreciate all those who have been watching, following the show. Appreciate that. And again, we are live tomorrow. We are live tomorrow at 11 a.m. on Saturday. So Saturday, June 3rd, 11 a.m., we will be live again tomorrow. So in case any of you guys want to catch the show, make sure you're with us tomorrow morning, 11 a.m., Saturday. We are going to keep our Cal Ripken streak of broadcasting every single day alive. Don't know if we're going to go the full 2 hours, but we will be live at 11 a.m. Saturday to help you out with all of your picks, all of your research, and of course, to have a lot of fun talking sports with you. I cannot say thank you enough. Big shout out to Bryce, the man behind the scenes who helps makes this happen. Bryce, you're an unbelievable producer. Appreciate your support and you managing all of this as we figure things out as TikTok gives us the runaround. Guys, thank you so much. Big shout out to all of you. Thank you for being with us. As always, I hope you stay safe. I hope you stay healthy. I hope you have a wonderful evening. And of course, I hope you cash a lot of tickets tonight. Can't wait to see you tomorrow, Saturday, June 3rd at 11 a.m. on our TikTok channel and on Instagram Live. Until then, be safe and we'll catch you tomorrow, guys. Bye-bye.